welcome to the Pap Smear Podcast, where we don't just scratch the surface, we go deeper. Today's guest is Kelly Rizzo, who is a podcaster, content creator, and a TV host, and someone who I felt like is my friend without ever hanging out.
Isn't it weird how much we feel like we know each other?
The minute you walked
I feel
in.
so comfortable with you already. It's just unbelievable. It's because we have, in a way, known each other for so many years. We're both Chicago people. We have so many mutual friends. We've crossed paths in some way, shape, or form in so many ways for such a long time that we are friends, damn it.
I know. Because I was like, how is it not? Because it doesn't happen that often where like, you know, you just walked in the door and it was like, you're here.
I know. I was just like,
there's
oh my
nothing
God,
uncomfortable.
Like I've seen you a million times.
Yeah. And it's like, I see you every day on Instagram.
I seriously see you every day. And I'm always so like, oh, there she is. Even though
I know.
Well, it's our second time really kind of hanging out. But the last time was not, it was a less intimate setting.
It was also like, we actually never hung out in Chicago, which is where we're both from.
Which is so strange.
Two Chicago girls. Now we're out west, and now I've actually seen you and hung out with you.
Yeah.
Because you're Chicago, born and bred. And did you ever leave Chicago up until moving to LA recently?
No. And to tell you how Chicago I am, I grew up from the time I was born until like high school on Lakeshore Drive, on the 26th floor of a high rise overlooking Lake Michigan on one side, and the other side. So on the east side, we looked at the lake, the most gorgeous lake views. And then on the west side, we looked into Wrigley Field. But I moved here in 2017.
You got rid of your accent. I heard you just say Chicago.
I know, but that's an anomaly. Everything else I say is so Chicago-y that have you ever seen those videos, like those Instagram videos where somebody's pretending like hear their own voicemail, and in their voicemail they're like, hey, it's Kelly, leave a message, I'll get back to you. And then they play it back and they say like, hey, it's Kelly, I'm from Chicago, I'm gonna get a hot dog and call my mom. And I like, that's how I hear my voice when I watch a video back. I'm like, oh,
you don't even sound like that.
I do though. I do.
Because Brant makes fun of me all the time when he goes, oh, that?
Yeah,
or whatever.
But mine's like that too.
Okay, now I heard it.
Yeah,
but when you said Chicago,
I think I just have made an effort to. That's like the one word that I'm not like Chicago.
But that's so Chicago.
I can't.
Chicago.
I'll never get rid of it, and I never want to.
I don't ever want to, and it's like as much as I love. Like I left Chicago when I was 19, and then we moved to Vegas.
Oh, you've been in Vegas that long.
Yeah. So my mom and her husband, my stepdad, were like, we're going out west. Who's coming with us? So me and my little brother went. Oh. And then I found my way back to Chicago when I was like 30. So I lived in Vegas from like 19 to 30, 32.
Okay. And then where did you grow up in the city?
So I grew up in the John Hancock. Yeah.
Oh,
on
you
the
were
45th
really
floor.
Oh my God. So did you go to like shopping at Water Tower every
That was
day?
where we hung out. Water Tower.
I got my
at the
ears
zoo.
pierced at the jewelry
Me too.
box.
That's where I got my pierced.
Stop.
That's where I got
I was
mine
like
pierced.
7. I was like 7 or 8, and I was so excited to finally get my ears pierced. My mom took me to the jewelry box at Water Tower, and that's where we did that was our mall.
That was it. How about Marshall Fields?
Marshall Fields and Lord and Taylor were the two stores there, and that's where we did like all our back to school shopping and everything.
Okay, now tell me, because you had mentioned this before. So you started in Chicago as a realtor.
So yeah, I started doing real estate in 99 when I was 20. So I got licensed even before you're supposed to be 21 unless you had 2 years of college. And so I was able to get my license even before I was 21. I'm like, what am I going to do? Like I got divorced. I hated my career. I wasn't making any money. I was just like, I need to do something different. And so like, let's start a blog. Like that's when blogs kind of started to be a thing. And I'm like, what do I love? What do I want to talk about? I'm like, I love food. I love travel. I love music. I know a lot about it. So I went online and bought eattravelrock.com. And then I just took years, but slowly transitioning, like phasing out of real estate and then amping up Eat Travel Rock until that became
How old were
my
you when you
full-time
started
thing.
Eat Travel Rock?
33.
Did you know you always wanted to be on the West Coast? Was that something that you like thought because you never left Chicago.
No.
You were like full on.
I think there was part of me that said, look, I know that at some point in my life, I want to live somewhere else. I need to experience something else because I love to travel. I loved experiencing new places and cultures and, you know, just different scenery. And I felt like there was a little bit more for me out there, but then I went through this horrible breakup in like 2015 in Chicago. And I remember that winter between 2015 and 2016, I was telling one of my best friends, Tiffany, do you know Tiffany? Tall, beautiful, blonde, like therapist that I feel like you'd know her if you saw her.
I guarantee it, yeah.
She was all over the place in Chicago. But we were on a walk in the winter and we had both just gone through breakups. And I said to her, I was like, I can't do another winter here in Chicago. I can't do it.
The worst.
I was like, this is my last winter here in Chicago.
Plus you were depressed.
I was miserable.
Those two don't combine.
So sad. And I was walking in the snow and I was like, I'm done. I'm not doing another winter here. And then like 3 months later, not even, I met Bob.
Really?
Uh-huh.
It was like you put it out there.
I guess I put it out there.
Well, you must have. You have to be a good manifester, I would think. Do you feel like you are?
Maybe.
In a way? Like you're just like...
I think I try.
Yeah, when you make up your mind on something,
yeah.
So I've been in your shoes, literally, like where you are in Chicago and you're like, this is it now.
Yeah.
Like I'm over it. I love where I'm from and I love this. But like, get me out. And it sounds like, because I was going through mine, it's very similar, like misery and breakup and like just sick of it. Sick of the winter and sick of the dark gray skies and all. And I was like, I'm out.
And how long ago was that?
Oh God, 5 years. I mean, I've been feeling that way for years in Chicago.
Yeah.
Years. After the lawsuits and after the city kind of came down hard on me, I was like, you've mistreated me.
You're
and
done.
I hate your weather.
You're done.
So I don't really like anything about you.
Yeah.
So I'm going to leave. And then
we just like that we have a history there.
Yeah.
You know?
And I'm never going to not love it.
Yeah.
But I need some time away from it to love it again.
Yeah. I don't feel like anyone who's from Chicago will ever not be proud to be from Chicago.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I had enough. And then I met Bob. And then...
And did you meet in Chicago or where did
you... We technically, and I don't know how many times I've actually even said this publicly. I don't know if I have. We technically met on Raya. Well, we were both on Raya. He saw me there, but I never saw him there. And then he reached out to, do you know Ro Khan? You know the radio host? Right.
Yes.
So he reached out to Ro Khan because he knew Ro, who's a radio host in Chicago.
Yeah. Why? Because he knew him?
He knew Ro and just assumed because we were both in media in Chicago that maybe we knew each other. And we did. Not well, but Ro at the time, like his girlfriend, I was friends with her. And so Bob reached out to Ro and said, hey, do you know this Kelly Rizzo girl by chance? And Ro's like, actually, I do. And he goes, is she a bitch? Because I guess he just like, he was used to LA girls. He was like, how, you know?
You're a Chicago girl. Right. The answer's no.
Right. And so Ro's like, no, I think she's pretty nice, actually. And he goes, I want to reach out to her on Instagram. Can you like get a message to her saying I'm going to reach out to her? And Ro's like, okay. So he told his girlfriend, who told me, that Bob Saget will be DMing you on Instagram. And I was like, what?
You would just like you get a random text like that.
Yeah. Like, hey, check your Instagram. Bob Saget's sending you a message. And my first reaction, and I hate this now, but to be very honest, my first reaction was, ugh, why? Like, no. Like, what? It was just too weird, too much of like a disconnect of, that's a different world. Like, I watched him growing up. Like, he was Danny Tanner. Like,
America's
this Chicago
dad.
girl.
Yeah.
Right. It was like, and I was like, he's too old for me and blah, blah. It was just not my type. And I was like, okay. And then sure enough, like a minute later, I get a message from him like, hey, I'd love to invite you to a show one day. And I see you're a foodie. I'll take you out for some burgers and lobsters. And I was like, okay. And then we just became friends, like social media friends for a while. And then I called him about a couple things to ask for some advice because I was like, I have some advice about, or I need some advice about the biz. Who better to ask?
Bob Saget.
Right. Like he's been around a bit.
And you just kind of been keeping in touch. So you're
yeah,
like, this is a good
I knew he
board.
liked me. And so I was very careful about not wanting to give him the wrong idea because I did not think I was really interested at the time. But I was also a little intrigued, but also like, I don't want to give him the wrong idea. Because
Yeah.
if I want to just be friends, I don't want him then to think, I mean, you know the whole thing.
Yes.
So I came out to LA with Chantel and her assistant for some meetings. Bob actually set me up on a couple meetings too. And that was the thing. He's like, I'd love to set you up in some meetings. I was like, okay, I'm just letting you know. I'm just want to be friends type of thing. He's like, that's fine. I think you're talented. I want to help. And then he's like, can I take you out to dinner? And I was like, oh, here we go. I was like, well, you can come out to dinner with me and my manager and her assistant.
Yep. Make it super friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay. So we went out with him like 4 nights in a row. Came to dinner with us. He's hanging out with me and Chantel in Georgia at the time.
And the whole time, he likes you.
I know he likes me. And by the last night that I was in town, we were supposed to go out again. And he said, look, I'm not going to go to dinner tonight. And I was like, why? It's like, look, the reality is I like you. I'm interested in you. And I'm just not feeling that back from you. And I think you're great. I'm happy to continue to help you. I'm happy to be friends. But like, I'm not going to go to dinner with you again. I'm just not. I just don't think you're interested in that way. And then it just like hit me. I go, well, what if I am? And he's like, you are? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, all right, what time's dinner? And then that was it. And then we went to dinner together again. And I was like, oh no, I can't have a crush on Bob Saget. Like, this is too weird.
Well, how do you feel like it started? Was it obviously the first 4 dinners?
Right. And then he kind of started growing on me. I was like, he's so charming. And he's obviously brilliant and weird and quirky and hilarious and dark and crazy and neurotic and all the things.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is the most interesting human I've ever experienced. How can I pass this up? And so I was just like, I'm just going to let this happen.
Was the 5th dinner just you two?
No, it was still,
okay,
it was still a bunch
Chantel.
of us. Right. But then, yeah. And then a month later, we went on our first date to Vegas.
Oh, so you went back to Chicago.
I went back to Chicago.
Then you guys met in Vegas.
Then, so
but have you just talked on the phone?
We
for
talked
what,
on the
2 months?
phone for like a month in between. And then he's like, let's go to Vegas. And then we stayed in this, fancy hotel. And then he took me out. We went to see Absinthe. We went to Yellowtail at the Bellagio. Yeah. And he took me to like the Michael Jackson show. Like we just had so much fun. And then we went out to a club. We went to Excess at Wynn one night. And all of a sudden, it was like there was nobody around. And then all of a sudden this wall comes down and then you see like the beach club. And I was like, where are we? It was crazy. And then all of a sudden, next thing I know, Bob's in the DJ booth with T-Pain. And I'm like, who is this guy? Like he's 60 years old, like popping bottles and like doing shots with T-Pain in a DJ booth. And I'm like, this guy, like, who is it? Like, it was crazy to me.
You said like the most fascinating person. So you're like, well, wait a minute. This is
right,
what I thought you would be.
Not your typical 60-year-old, And so that night, literally it was our first date. We like said, I love you. And we said, we're boyfriend, girlfriend. And then that was it.
Really?
That was it. Yeah.
It just happened like that fast.
It just happened with that. Like,
well, now, and granted, you had 2 months of like really
we
getting
had 2
to know
months
each
of
other
getting to
on
know
the
each
phone.
other. Right. But
which I think
it was
even more
technically our
important.
first official date. We said, I love you. And we were boyfriend, girlfriend. And then that was it.
Oh.
And then I moved to LA like 10 months later. So we did long distance.
Still
for a
did
little
long
bit.
distance for 10 months. How was that?
It was fine because, like I knew I wasn't going to move in right away. And it wasn't until I knew that we were very committed. And we also had that kind of uncomfortable talk about, I had thought maybe I knew I never really wanted kids, but I wanted the option. And he had said in the very beginning that there's an option because he had 3 adult children. He's like, I don't want more kids, but maybe I'd be open to it. And then before I moved out to LA, he said, we have to talk. He's like, I can't have more kids. There's just no way. And I was like, I get it. I wouldn't want to be 70 pushing a stroller either, or 65 or whatever it was. And I was like, I don't blame you. And he's like, but if that's something you want, you should have what you want. And I don't want to hold you back. So think really long and hard about if you want to move to LA, because if we're going to go down this path, like I'm not having more kids. And it took me about 3 seconds. Literally, I was like, okay, I'm in. It was like that. I know I've talked about this before, but it's the perfect explanation of, did you watch Sex and the City?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much all of them.
Right. So you know the episode where Carrie, she's dating Alexander Petrovsky.
Yes.
And she had to come to the realization of like, is she going to have kids? Because he said he didn't want more kids. And Charlotte was like, how can you give up a baby for a man you hardly know? And she goes, why would I give up a man I love for a baby I hardly know I want? And it was the same thing. I was like, I'm going to give him up for something that I don't even really think I want, you know? So
that's a beautiful way to say
him.
it.
Yeah.
Okay. So you come from Chicago, you come to LA, because I was going to ask you next. I'm like, childless by choice, or what was it? Because I've heard you. And what I love most, and what I was talking to Brant about, is like, I connected with you on that stuff too. I think that's why I feel like I know you so well, because like you just speak openly and honestly about it. And so do I. Like, I don't fuck around. I don't care. It's like, this is what I want in my life, and this is what I don't want in my life. And I'm comfortable with it. And so I was thinking, because like my first date with Brant was like, he was like, hey, I know you've been going through egg freezing, and like, you know, I was going to get a vasectomy, but do you not want, it was like that conversation on our first date. And I go, 2 seconds later, no kids. Thank you.
Really? I was wondering where you were at with that, because I know you had gone through that process.
Totally done with it. Just had my fertility doctor on like 2 weeks ago from Chicago, just to talk about my journey of like 5 years of doing it. And everyone's like thinking I'm doing it right now because I posted just about the podcast. Like friends are reaching out to Brant. They're like, oh my God, man, we didn't know. I'm like, no. Read the caption. Okay. Right. But I had been doing it up until I went to this place called the Hoffman process. I mean, literally, I did a retrieval the day I left for Hoffman. I did the retrieval in the morning, which is like go under surgery. Yeah. And then I got on a plane and hopped over to San Francisco to go to a 7-day retreat, which is where we met. And we became friends. And then our first date was...
And how long ago was that?
That was like 3 years ago almost, 2.5 years ago.
Wow. Okay. So just not and too long before Brecken and me. Yeah.
Yes. So around the same.
It was 2 years ago.
And he just said to me, he was like, you know, do you want kids? And I'm like, no. He's like, what? Are you sure? You want to wait? Want to talk about it in the morning? I'm like, the answer's no.
So did your like answer evolve? Because obviously if you went through the whole process and the egg retrieval, like you had at least maybe thought you did.
I wanted to have an option.
You wanted the option.
One day, if I changed my mind. But I think the truth is that like, I never knew that like just meeting the right person would allow me to be honest with what I really wanted.
Wow.
And
like, literally chills.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I was in a relationship for 8 years where he wanted children. But then like, there was no like real step forward with us. So I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, bud? Like, I'm not getting younger. You want multiple children? How am I going to give you that? So instead of just having that epiphany of like, you're not the right person for me, I let it go. But I was like with somebody, living with them, owning a home with them, having an embryo frozen with them, but all the while freezing my own eggs. And I'm like, this is weird. Like, I'm doing this on my own because I don't want to be with you. And so, but I'm also doing it to be with you. So it was a weird moment for me, a long moment of like years. And then meeting the right person, having this partner who's looking at me and saying, well, you have what you want. And I don't want that, but maybe, but think about it. And I was like, I never want to think about it again. Please.
Isn't it liberating?
It was the most freeing feeling in the entire world for me.
Oh my God, this makes you not that I'm also never the person that's like trying to convince people not to have kids, because I get it. But you know, there's some people on the fence and it sounds like they really don't. And I'm like, hey, I'll help you see why maybe you don't. But then when you hear somebody else who just doesn't, you're like, oh, we're in the same club. We get it. And it's so liberating. And I think I had that same thing with my ex before Bob, who, you know, we just bought a new house together. We were moving in the next day. We were together 2 years, never had a fight. Crazy in love. Never had a fight. And then the day before the movers came, out of the blue, he's like, I can't do this anymore. Never even had a fight. And I was like, what? And his thing was, I don't think you want to be a mom and I want to be a dad like tomorrow. And I was so offended. I was like, how dare you? even though anytime we would see kids, I would be like, ugh, you know, like I was just not, you know, I was never like, oh, let's go play with the
You
kids.
caught on to that, huh?
Right. But I was like, how could you say such an absolutely horrific thing? Of course I want to be a mom. And like I would say, I'm like, no, I don't.
Like it didn't feel right coming out.
Right. And then thank God he, you know, broke up with me because thank God I wouldn't have met Bob. And then when, you know, Bob said that and I chose him and then I knew it was no longer an option, there was like a little bit of time where my friends were all saying, well, you can just freeze your eggs. Just freeze your eggs. It'll make you feel better. You'll have this insurance policy. Like you'll just feel better.
Yeah.
You should freeze your eggs. It was around the time that I was moving to LA where Bob said, already met Bob. I'm with Bob. I think it was even after I moved to LA, but we weren't engaged yet.
Okay.
My friends were like,
did you know maybe you were going to get engaged? Did you have a feeling?
Yeah. I mean, I knew that if I was living there, like that was kind of the plan. But my friends were still saying like, but what if you change your mind? Or what if he changes his mind? You should still, maybe it was around the time that maybe even right before I moved, before Bob said absolutely not. But then I remember bringing it up to Bob saying, well, what would you think about me freezing my eggs? And he was so upset. He was like, he took it as I'm seeing that we're not going to be together one day. And then I'm going to do that for the next guy.
Yeah.
And that was not, of course, what I was thinking at all.
You were looking at it as just like what your friend.
But I also had been through people having a great relationship and then I get dumped out of the blue.
Yeah.
So I was like, what if I give him a few more years and he dumps me out of the blue?
You're a realist.
Right.
Right.
So it made him so upset to think that I was thinking about that like down the road without him because he said, he's like, I'm not changing my mind. So I was like, okay.
But he did change his mind, right? In the beginning, when you first met.
Well, he went from maybe I'd be open to it to absolutely not.
When did that shift change?
Right before I moved to LA.
So it wasn't something you even knew he was going to say because you really hadn't really talked about it.
Right.
When he said it to you, did it kind of hit you real hard?
That's when I immediately chose him. I was like, I don't think I want kids anyway. I'm not giving him up. He's too special.
Yeah.
And
that's, of course, when the friends start to chirp, 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 chirp.
Right. It was around that, like, oh, you should freeze your eggs. And so I brought it up to him and he was so sad and offended. I was like, okay, I take it back.
Yeah, because very rarely, I mean, I do it now, but very rarely before did I put myself in someone else's shoes before saying something. So you can now look at it and be like, oh shit, what would that have felt like for me?
Yeah. And so he thought it was an insurance policy against him. And I could totally see how he would have thought that, even though that's not where my head was at.
Yeah.
It was more like, what if something happened to him? You know?
What if anything happens, right?
Right.
You break up with him. He breaks up with you. He passes or what? You don't know what the hell's going to happen in life.
Exactly.
So
well, that's what I've learned. You cannot plan life.
No.
So I thought it was a good thing to have that as an insurance policy. It really upset him. And then I was like, okay.
So never did it.
Never did it.
Do you have any regrets on it?
No.
Good.
Because I know, like, I know I do not want that at all. And there wasn't even one second of me thinking after he passed away, like, oh, I wish I would have done that 7 years ago or 6 years, you know, never a second.
Good.
But yes, I have 2 nieces.
And so now your new relationship, or 2 years plus, he has kids.
He has kids.
And wait, Bob had kids.
Bob has 3 daughters.
So how old?
His joke was always DJ, Steph, Michelle.
Yeah.
So he has 3 daughters who are all in their 30s, and like from 33 to 38. And so when we met, they were like 23 to 28.
And how was that? So you're now in this relationship with a man. What was your age difference?
So Bob and I are 23 years apart. So I was 8 years older than his oldest and 13 years older than his youngest. So, I mean, it was enough where it was like appropriate. And his girls would always joke. They're like, thank God for you, because they're like, you're the most age appropriate person he's ever dated, which is hilarious. So
How was that coming into the role of what were you, a stepmom, bonus mom? How
they
did you
call me
talk?
stepmommy Kelly. It's funny. My oldest stepdaughter's 38 and she calls me stepmommy Kelly. And
Did that fall naturally, like in the relationship?
Well, I mean, when we got married, but when we were dating, I mean, they didn't call me that until we were married. But like when we were dating and engaged, from the first time I met them, Bob had been telling them, guys, she's different. Like she's different. She's not like these, LA bimbo Playboy models that he'd been dating before. Yeah. Like she's different. She's special. Like be nice to her type of thing. But they're angels. They are absolute angels. And from the first time I met them, they welcomed me. They loved me. I mean, very soon after we started saying, I love you, it was very special and very wonderful. And we were so close while Bob was here. And then since he's passed, we've obviously gotten even closer. I mean, I'm even closer now to his ex-wife. Like we say, I love you all the time. Yeah. It's like really, really, really special. I was going to ask,
like, does that relationship, after something like that happens, whether it's a breakup or a loss of life, like you continue those relationships?
Well, you hope so.
Yeah.
It makes me really sad because I know a lot of situations and people in similar things, it doesn't. And it gets very contentious and it's awful. And there's weird negative things that happen. And with Bob, we've been we say to each other all the time, just like what a blessing it is that we have each other. Yeah. And we're just so grateful for each other and to have the relationship that we do. And I mean, I certainly hope that it never ends and never changes. And soon I'll
consciously have to all make an effort.
Yeah. And you have the situation too.
Yeah, I'm just getting closer and closer to the kids. And I hope that they always know that they like have me to like bounce things off of, but like, again, it's still a newer relationship.
So it's a lovely situation where you all get along and everything.
Yeah. His son lives with me right now. So I got him a job in Vegas. He's with me all summer.
Oh my God. That's so cool.
He's 23, married. His wife, I'm in love with. She lives in Utah. So he's just in Vegas for the summer doing like this internship. And I love him. Like he comes home from work. I get home. We make dinner. We watch our shows. We say, I love you. Like before bed, it's like, I love you. I love you. Before work, I love you. A hug.
See, you get it.
I love it. It's a feeling.
It makes me want to cry.
I know.
It's so special.
It's a crazy cool feeling of like, I never thought this was going to be for me or ever thought that I was going to get into this.
Yeah. And I can't get away from the girls thing because I have 3 stepdaughters. Brecken has 2 daughters. I have 2 nieces. Like it's so crazy. Everywhere. Girls everywhere. And like Brecken's daughters, they're just so lovely and they're so sweet and they've been so welcoming to me. And like the youngest one, I mean, I see her more because the other one's away at college, but the youngest one, she'll snuggle up to me and be like, I love you. I love you. I mean, it's just so sweet. And it's been great because he was in the same, he's like, no more kids for me.
Yes.
Dunzo.
Did you have that talk with him? Did you think that you might want him again when you met him?
Honestly, no.
Okay.
But I think in our very first, because we had known each other, like of each other and we'd met a couple times, like with Bob, like he was friendly with Bob. Like he and Bob loved each other.
Yeah.
I mean, they weren't best friends because that would be weird. But yes, they were acquaintances.
But
and they
would it be that weird, by the way?
Well, I mean, there's some of like Bob's best friends who it's like, that would be off limits. Yeah. But Brecken's best friend was one of Bob's closest friends. So they shared like a mutual best friend kind of. And so that's how we ended up connecting, was at a party that this best friend had. So it was like, we met the old fashioned way. And I think on that first conversation where we first like really connected at this party, he had mentioned that he didn't want kids. And I was like, oh, no kids for me. So it's like, we already had put that out there, even though we didn't necessarily at that time know we'd be dating and like need to have that conversation. But then I'm sure on our first date, I'm sure we kind of confirmed that, where I was like, yeah, I don't want kids. And he was like, well, works out great because no more for me.
Yeah.
So it was
easy.
Yeah. So easy. Where, I think it would be hard for a guy, because when we met, he was 49, so he's 51 now. But let's say who's late 40s, early 50s, to date somebody because usually a guy, let's say in their late 40s, early 50s, is probably looking for somebody late 30s, early 40s, something like that, who doesn't want kids. Most women are going to want them if they don't have them yet.
We're hard to find.
Right.
You and I are not, we're
We
like
are unicorns.
anomalies.
Yeah. Who don't want them. So, or maybe they already have them. And I don't know if he would have, really even wanted a situation where now he's dating somebody who has like 3 kids already.
Yeah.
So it just,
That's hard.
right.
God.
So it just really worked out.
Yeah.
Really, really great. And yeah, it's like the more time that goes on, the more sure I am.
Yes. Every day I feel the same way.
Yeah.
It's
And people are always like, well, not people like in my life, because anyone who knows me knows I'm fine with it. But, on the internet, people be like, well, one day you're going to look back. I'm like, no.
And those people are not your friends for a reason.
Yeah, well, those are
people
called trolls.
Are just trolls.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you don't just come to LA. You come to LA because you're in love.
Yeah.
And you're in love with somebody who is like very well known.
Yeah.
How was that throwing your life into like being in that's a totally different life.
Yeah.
Like I'm living a totally different life than I was living in Chicago.
Yeah.
And my Chicago friends, like, they're finally starting to come visit and like see my life in Vegas and then be with us here. And so, but it could not be more different. But I always knew it was the life I was supposed to live.
Amen.
Do you feel like, because that's opposite. I mean, you were Chicago, it's Midwest. It's like, you got your friends, you never left. And now here we are, launched into Hollywood.
Yeah.
And like, I'm assuming he had famous friends and like that lifestyle. How was that?
Yeah,
you're
it's
so
like when
cool
my first double
earth.
date is going out with, Bob and John Stamos and his girlfriend at the time, who's now his wife. Like, I'm like, what is my life? Like this, it was so weird. But I moved into his world and I was fine with it because his world was lovely and his friends were amazing and his family was wonderful. And they were all so welcoming to me. And like, I had some friends in LA, of course, but he had such a wonderful support system and network, and he was so ingrained in his community, and he had his, he was best friends with his dry cleaner and he's best friends with his dentist. And, he's like, here's your dentist, here's your dry cleaner, here's the grocery store, and all the butchers knew him. It was like, it took away all the fear of moving to a new town, or especially to like a new city, or at least a city like LA, where a lot of people who move to LA, it's very intimidating because it's very big.
Important things you need.
Right.
Yeah.
And Bob had his whole world already set up, and I just kind of seamlessly integrated into it, and it was very cozy and wonderful. And, it took some adjusting, but right away I was like, oh, this is okay. This makes sense. And when Bob passed away, I just naturally thought that I'd go back home to Chicago because that's where my whole family was. And it was really weird for me, especially my dad, who's a Sicilian. And it's like, you stay home with the family. Mm-hmm. Like, he didn't even like me going away to college. He's like, no, you stay home. It's like that old school mentality. So I thought when Bob passed that I'd move back home, because like, that's where my family is. And my dad would be like, I want you home.
When did you even have that thought? Like, you go through?
Like within, a couple days after he passed. Like, I remember I had all these people over at my house, and I was thinking like, what am I going to do? Where do I go? Like, I felt super lost and very scared of like, what do I do now? Do I move back to Chicago? And then I remember it was just maybe not even 2 weeks later, I talked to both my parents, and they're like, I was in my 40s, so it's not like I needed their permission, but they said, we've been talking about it and we think you should stay there. You should stay in LA. Your life is there now. That's where all of Bob's friends are. That's where all of your support system is. Besides my family,
of course. Other than them.
They're like, you've just built a life out there. And my dad was like, yeah, I agree. I think you should stay in LA. And I was like, all right, if you think I should stay here, then I should stay here.
But did you feel like you needed them? Like, how long, when he passed away, they immediately came to you?
Yeah.
How did that work?
You mean like physically?
Like they flew to you, right?
My mom and sisters flew out. Well, my mom and one sister flew out the next morning.
Did you find out in the morning, in the afternoon?
I found out Sunday morning. Well, it was like a several hour process of finding out.
Do you care talking about this?
No, I mean,
Okay.
I talk about
How
it all the
did it
time. I
happen?
mean, I might get emotional, but that's just what I do.
Oh,
It's
well,
fine.
God. And I don't want you to, but like,
No,
how did it,
It was,
where was he?
he
Where
was
were
in
you?
Orlando. I was at home in LA, and he was on tour, and he had a show in Jacksonville the night before, and he was driving back to Orlando, and we were texting that night and talking that night. And after a show, especially a comedian, they're very amped up. So like they stay up late a lot on the night of a show. So like, even though I had COVID, so I was home, like I was miserable. I had like the worst sore throat. And so I went to bed kind of early, but he was up pretty late. And he was even texting me some things. He's like, oh, I got you these cough drops. And he's like, please go to bed. Like, I'll pay you to go to bed. Like, you need rest, you know? And we ended the night. I was like, I love you. I miss you. I can't wait to see you tomorrow. And he's like, I love you effortlessly. I love you endlessly. You know, it was love, love, love. Thank God. And then the next morning he was supposed to catch a flight. And I could track his phone. I saw that he was still at the hotel. I was like, that's weird. And I was texting him and calling him, telling him like, I'm so sick. Like my throat hurts so bad, you know, like complaining about my throat. Yeah. Right. And he wasn't responding, and he was very responsive. Like Bob did not like, you know, he immediately responded to texts, always answered calls, like unless he was sleeping or something. So I was like, all right, maybe he's very tired because he went to bed late. And he, you know, I just couldn't get a hold of him. And I had just started thinking, because I'm always such a worrier, I always think the worst thing's going to happen. I always think if I can't get a hold of somebody, they're dead. And I remember telling myself that day, because Bob would always say to me, like, everything's always fine. Stop worrying. You're going to give yourself a disease. Like, you have to stop worrying. Like, everything's always fine.
Because you were always stressed out about it? Or
it's just a thing I've had since I was little. Like, I would always think if I couldn't get a hold of my parents, they're in a car accident.
Okay. So it was just always a thing.
Yeah.
Which is a terrible way to live.
Terrible.
Jesus.
And so that day I was like, I'm not going to do this to myself today. He's fine. Of course he's fine. He's always fine. Everyone's always fine. I'm not going to stress myself out. I'm sure there's an explanation for why he's not answering. And then finally though, he's still not answering. I was like, okay, it's getting weird. So I called the hotel and I was like, can you put me through to his room? And he had an alias. And they're like, sorry, we can't do that. Like, we don't know who you are. I'm like, I'm his wife. They're like, well, I'm like, look, can you call his room and then have him call me? And they're like, fine. I don't get a hold, you know, no one calls me. So I called them back. I was like, did you do that? They're like, no one answered. So I was like, okay. So now I'm really starting to get worried, but I'm like forcing myself not to worry.
Right. For the first time. Right. Like, you're like, no.
I was like, everything's fine, you know? And then it was just 2 hours of, okay, we're going to send somebody to knock on the door. Okay, nobody's answering, but the door is locked. And then at this point, I have a friend come over because I start panicking. And okay, we're going to go do a wellness check. Okay, we can't get in the door. Okay, we're sending somebody to break down the door. Okay, I mean, it was awful. It was awful. And I'm at this point, I'm calling
hours of this.
I'm calling his girls. I'm on the phone with his ex-wife. I'm on the phone with his daughters. Like, we're all, you know, chain of command of I'm making the phone call and then I'm telling them what's happening. And then my friend is calling the hotel for me too, because I'm hysterical. And then finally, after 2 hours of it, you know, a security guard got on the phone with me and said, you know, unfortunately he passed away. And yeah. And so
I'm sorry.
I mean, it was just awful. Just like it's so easy to put myself back there, you know?
Yeah.
And
because you just told yourself it's going to be okay.
I know. The one time I try to like talk myself out of that. And it was just so fucking weird because at the time, imagine this, like you're trying to figure this out. You get the worst news of your life. And I remember I'm getting this news and like I see Stamos calling me. And then I see Candace Cameron calling me. And I'm like, why are they calling me? Like, I didn't even know for sure yet. I was like, what's going on? And obviously I'm ignoring their calls because I'm like trying to
process and deal,
figure out what's going on. And then finally I get the news that he passed. And then it's like, obviously first call I made was to his ex-wife so that she could tell the girls. But then And then like my friend was calling my family. Like I couldn't even talk to my family yet. And like, and then Stamos called me again. And then finally I answered and he's like, hey, is Bob okay? And I was, screaming. And so he knew right away that he wasn't. I was like, no. And then he started screaming. It was awful. And then Candace just showed up at my house. And I was like, we figured out that, and this was all part of like the news and everything. It was awful. But some police officers told people that Bob had passed before I knew. And so it was getting out in the media.
Before you knew? Or
before I knew.
You hadn't even gotten
the news. So
that's
how
yet?
what happened was the police officer told his sister, and his sister, this is so random, but since we're on the topic.
Yeah.
I've literally never told this story. Police officer told his sister randomly sent Candace a DM and said, I'm so sorry to hear about Bob. And so Candace called Stamos and Stamos was like, what? And then called me and I didn't answer. And then so finally so they knew about it technically before I did, but they didn't know it was true.
Because they're thinking it's just like rumor or whatever and calling you to confirm. But
and then when I found out, less than 30 minutes later, it was on TMZ. So I think they were waiting until they knew that I knew for sure. So it wasn't on TMZ before I knew.
Oh my God.
Isn't that fucking awful?
Awful.
It was insane. It was just insanity. And then it was just
because
like, obviously.
You're in like this, like, I would assume
it
out of
felt
body.
like a very surreal out of body experience. Like this isn't my life right now that I'm reading about my husband on TMZ and like that and it still didn't feel real because he was gone.
Right. He was away doing his thing, right?
It didn't feel real until I like saw him at the funeral. Like that, I didn't think it was real,
Well, God, I mean, how could you?
It's like I knew that it was, but
yeah, like you're not stupid,
right?
But you also
right, but
the
was
love
like,
of your
you
life
need like
is
the
gone
closure of actually, because a lot of people, when their loved one passes away, they either see them in the hospital or like that day or the next day, and so it was like I didn't see him for 5 days.
How does that work? Like, don't you as a wife, like, I don't know how it works. I know like when my dad passed away,
he wasn't there. He was in Florida. They had to fly him home.
They had to fly him home?
Yeah. Well, and the joke, keep in mind, I was married to a very dark comedian and he loved dark humor. And like the joke was John Mayer chartered him a jet to bring him home because he didn't like to fly coach.
Wait, is that real?
No, I mean, John got him a plane to fly him home.
Okay, but
then the joke was, I was like, Bob would like this so much more. He would be so mad if he had to like fly home on United or something, It's like he would hate flying. He'd just be so happy to fly private his last flight, It's like that was the joke. But yeah, John was an angel, and the fact that he did that and got him a plane because it was either like we have to wait another week to find a plane that's like a commercial flight to bring him home, or John's like, no, fuck it, I'm sending a plane for him.
Like he needs to come home.
Yeah.
So did you get him back fast?
I mean, that was like as fast as possible.
Yeah.
It was like 4 days.
Jesus.
Yeah. Or well.
And all the while you are just sitting in this moment of like, how is this my life? Surrounded by people. Like, does that, like when you look back at it?
People. And it's weird because, sorry, I hate how it sounds name droppy, but John Mayer.
No, none of it's name droppy. It's your source.
He and I had so many conversations even since, because there was this weird circle of trust that assembled after Bob passed at our house, where it was like our house was like ground zero for this grief, but also this coziness of being around all these people who loved him so much.
Yeah.
And there was this weird comfort that we all brought to each other, like for that week.
Safety.
And so it was safety, it was comfort. And, for that whole time of, because he passed on Sunday. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
And you're sick. You have COVID. Right? Are you feeling like shit?
The first day that he passed, that Sunday, was the first day I tested negative. So that's why I felt comfortable having people over.
Yeah.
But I got so sick that week, even after I didn't technically like have it anymore, but I had like 103 fever and my whole body was just like shutting down. And I had like doctors coming to the house every day and like doing blood work. It was awful. It was awful. And but anyway, so John and I have said since then, so many times we've had these talks about, even though it was the worst week ever and it was just torturous, that there's something that we like longed for and something that we missed about that time because it was so special for all of us to like be there together.
Yeah.
So it's
Isn't that
weird.
crazy?
Grief
how,
does a lot of weird things.
Something so sad and awful and just
like that we missed something about it.
Yeah, because it is like this safety of being at home and comfortable, like you said, like where you nothing else can kind of come in and
it took me a long time to want to be around people who I considered certain people Bob people. They were people who either Bob loved very much or people who loved Bob very much. I was more comfortable being around somebody who, let's say, I didn't know at all, but I knew that Bob loved them and they were close with Bob, than being around my best friend of 30 years.
Like it was like almost
like I had best friends in Chicago who didn't know Bob because like I lived in LA. They maybe met him one time, but they had been my best friend for like 30 years. And I was more comfortable being around somebody who I didn't know at all, but I knew was close with Bob than my best friend of 30 years or 20 years or who, you know, it was really weird.
I understand.
I only wanted to be around Bob people for a long time.
I understand it.
6 months to a year, probably. I only felt comfortable being around Bob people.
But you know what? Guess what? Whatever you needed is exactly what you should have done. Yeah. Because I understand what you're saying. Like it just makes sense.
Because I only wanted to talk about him. Yeah. Like I still talk about him all the time, but I only wanted to talk about him. And I feel like only people who got him, like I only wanted to talk to him about people who got him and understood him.
Yeah. Otherwise you're talking to your friend of 30 years that didn't really know him. And so you aren't able to really have that back and forth conversation about the person whose memory you're trying to keep alive.
We get it. We understand. I'm like, no, you don't get it.
Yeah.
Unless you knew him, you don't get it.
Yeah. And I would think it would like be like almost like a like mentally safer. But
at the same time, there was this really weird, beautiful thing of like everyone in the world felt like they knew him.
Yeah.
So I did have so much support from total strangers because everyone loved him so much.
I remember watching you on just Instagram and just making sure, because like I didn't know you, but I knew you because like you worked for my magazine too. Yeah. Like when I was doing that, it's like, how did we never get to be together? I'll
never understand it.
It doesn't make sense, but whatever it is, we're here now. And I think the world it works in crazy, funny ways. But I remember just feeling like probably so many people in this world felt for you, where he was like America's dad, but you were like America's like sister or daughter or friend. Thank you. I think that probably was like maybe another reason that I felt like, oh my God, this is my friend from Chicago who we sort of worked together, but we knew so many of the same people. We're both moving out west and whatever. It was just this like, definitely this parallel of like, I know you and now I hurt
it's this like Chicago girl who like moved, you know, tried to go after her dreams and this great guy. And then this, you know, it's so weird. It wasn't like you were saying earlier how, you know, did you envision like that you were going to have this big life out in LA? It's like, I didn't envision it like this though. Nope. You know, it's like I'm making the best of it and I'm trying to, you know, just be grateful for all the beautiful things I do have in my life and just make the best of it and try to help other people with what I've been through. But it certainly wasn't what I planned or what I was thinking was going to happen, that I'd be married 3 years and then you'd have this horrible accident and then just never see him again. Like what? Yeah. It's crazy. But you know, like
you're such a strong personality. You have such a good outlook on life. You just like the way you speak about whether it's food or clothing, like your fit check, whatever. And if I'm connecting with you, because I only like authentic people and I see through it. It's like everyone, thank God, authenticity is trending now. What the fuck? How is it trending?
How is it trending?
Yes. Are you with me on that? Yeah. Where it's like, oh no, people only want authentic. Well, but that's all I've ever done. Is I've only been my true, authentic self. And when people have told me to do something that doesn't feel right for me, I'm like, that's not going to happen.
And it's just, but you like, you also like, you just have that glow about you. And that's why you've been so successful. And that's why people love you so much. I mean, I even see like, I'll see you post something on Instagram and, you know, like it'll say like you posted it like 10 minutes ago and it's like 500 billion likes. I'm like, cause everyone freaking loves you. And you just have that like glow about you where you're just like not full of shit. And it's just so easy to spot. And I think, you know, that's why from day one, even though we haven't hung out a lot in person, we still feel like we're besties.
I feel the same about you. Watching you, listening to you, it's like, I want to buy the things that you say are going to be good for me.
Well, because I'm never going to say I actually like anything unless I actually like it.
Thank you. You know how many people do?
Yeah.
Bazillion.
Yeah.
And so from the get-go with this career that has happened to just fall into my lap in the most beautiful way, I've always vowed to be authentic in a product or a home that I do or a person that I hang out with or whoever I call my friend. You know, it's like, I'm not going to do it just to do it. I'm not going to do it for money. If I don't believe in something, I don't want to be around it. And I'm certainly not going to tell somebody to buy it.
Right.
And you're the same. I knew that from the minute that like, I just had you doing stuff for sophisticated living was like, you know what you're saying and you believe in it. And therefore I believe you.
Thank you.
And so it's very easy to watch you. And it's probably, made it so much easier too for me to champion around you, even though like, I know I sent you probably had a million notes, but it was just like, my heart breaks for you because like, here you are. And I can imagine it's like, what I dreamed of was like, how do I get out of Chicago and how do I go back to the West Coast where my heart is happy? And imagining like, if that somehow was taken away from me or something I loved, someone, anything that was taken away from me that I loved so dearly, what that would be. I think about my love for Brant. And if he was taken from me, I don't know what I would do. So it's like, how do you, as somebody who I know is strong and confident and like, you got your shit together, but still heartbreak is so fucked up.
Well, once again, you don't know what you would do until you're put in that situation. And I think when you go through it, that's when you find out what you're made of. Because I never thought I guess I just didn't think about it one way or the other. Like, am I strong or not? You know, but then everyone tells me like, you're so strong. And then I'm like, am I? Okay.
If everyone's yes.
Right. But like, you don't feel that about yourself really, but it's like, I guess I must be because, you know, it's still a journey and it's still a process, but like, I didn't break and I didn't crumble and I, you know, got through it. But now I think about, oh my God, like if anything happened to Brecken, like I can't imagine what I would do. It's like, you know, the thought of it makes me sick to my stomach, but I'm like,
because you have this person,
right. I'm like, dear God, I'm like, please don't put me through that again. Like, please, it's enough already.
Well, how's that with your brain, by the way? Like, where you grew up and lived your life in a way of being such a worrier.
Yeah.
And thinking the worst. And then that day you tell yourself, don't think the worst. Right. And then the worst happens. Yeah. So now here you are finding love again, in love again. How does that work? Like, do you go back to the old way of worrying all the time?
No, I mean, well, first off, Brecken is the absolute biggest gift. And he understands my situation so much. He is so kind and compassionate about it. And he's been so wonderful about it. And he knows what I've been through. And he knows the anxiety and the torture of that day specifically and what I've had to deal with. Yeah. So, you know, I'm allowed to, I can track him. I know where he's like, I never, if he's like driving and I see his little dot still moving, I know he's safe and he's okay. So I don't have to like hound him to be like, did you get there safe? Are you okay? Did you get home okay? You know, like,
because you do worry.
It's still bad, but he does things to make it as easy as possible, if that makes sense. Like, he'll constantly, like, he knows that that's what happens to me.
Yeah.
And so he's always going above and beyond to be like, hey, I'm just letting you know I'm going to the movie theater. So I'm turning my phone off for 2 hours. It starts at 3, it ends at 5, and then I'll be on my way home. Like, so he'll do things like that. So like, I don't worry.
How cool is that?
You know? Oh, he's just the best.
Someone who sees you.
Yeah. He sees me, he gets it. And then if ever there's a time where I'm like, you know, he didn't text back right away or something. And if I text again, to be like, I'm sorry if I'm sounding annoying, but I just want to make sure you're okay. He's like, you have carte blanche to bug me as much as you want. Like, if you need to make sure I'm okay, you can call me 100 times. I'm never going to get annoyed.
I love
you know,
that.
it's just so he goes above and beyond to help with it. But yeah, there's two schools of thought. It's the worst already happened to me. So what are the chances it's ever going to happen again? But then there's, well, shows it can happen. So, you know, so I try to stay in that first school of thought of, well, what are the odds it's ever going to happen again? You know?
But God,
it's not easy.
How did you, I mean, you would think, like, when you look back, does it look like that to you? Like it went by so fast and that grief was like evolving. Like, it's almost like you let us watch your grief.
Yeah. It was 3.5 years ago, more than that now. And it feels, some days it feels like he's been gone for an eternity. And some days it feels like it was a year ago. Yeah. It's really weird.
Just moments of it, huh?
Yeah.
Back and forth.
Yeah. It's weird because I'm like, oh my God, I've been with Brecken 2 years now. But how is that possible since Bob was just here 5 minutes ago? It's like, oh, they did not overlap. You know, it was like, that was, you know, more than 18 months before. And those 18 months were, well, let's say at least the first 12 months were absolutely gut-wrenching, just gut-wrenching. Ugh. You know? And
What'd you do? Like, I mean, how do you, I watched you.
You know
like,
what
I
I
feel
did?
like I watched you went
Want to know what I
hiking
did?
What'd you do?
Well, the hiking helped.
Yeah.
What I did was I thanked God every single day for my sister. I have 2 beautiful sisters, who are amazing. But my one sister, Kristen, like, she came and like slept in my bed with me every single night. And she was there for me 24 hours a day. And she's like a pastor. I mean, she's not like legally a pastor, but she's like a pastor. I mean, she can like quote scripture and she knows everything about, I mean, she's brilliant when it comes to, you know, anything about spirituality and God and like just trusting and like, I mean, she's just brilliant about it. And so having her like be my live-in therapist and spiritual guide and like counselor and like literally stay in my bed with me, it was just the absolute biggest gift. And there's no chance I would have gotten through it if it wasn't for Kristen.
How lucky are you?
Yeah, very, very, very.
Baby sister, older?
Well, I'm the oldest of 3. So yeah, she's my middle. And then my youngest sister, Kimmy. I mean,
did she leave, like, did she have a husband, kids, and came to be with you?
My youngest sister, Kimmy, is married with the 2 kids. Okay. And my middle sister is still single, but I mean, I'm sure we'll find somebody soon.
Yes. But she was the one that came to just.
Thank God. Well, that's what it was like, such a blessing that like she was available to literally like come live with me and be with me for months and months and months. Yeah. So.
God.
Yeah. So,
and you know, like that's you just didn't want to leave home.
You know, like God
whatever.
Never gives you more than you can handle. And he gave me this sad situation with the most beautiful people surrounding me to help me get through it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Like, you got to look at, I mean, through all that, like, loss, there's so much love. There's so much, like, whatever the loss might be, whether it's death or breakup or, you know, a job, whatever that is that
there's so many forms of loss.
Yeah. And it's like you just like keep his memory alive. Yeah. All the time, I'm assuming. And
oh my God. Well, look how much we talked. Like, I talk about him nonstop. I'll never stop. And that's why, like, with, you know, I have my subscription thing that I do, Comfort Club. And I have a lot of members who, you know, they've gone through some sort of loss. It's not all death. It's not all grief in that aspect. Some have gotten divorced. Some had, you know, addiction issues. Some had, you know, the death of a parent or something. It's all different forms of people who have gone through something who just want to come together and comfort each other.
And is it a forum?
Yeah, it's like a subscription-based membership, and it's its own platform.
Yeah, oh, cool.
So it's really nice, and it's like 50 people right now, and everyone just is so supportive. And I have like live cooking things once a month, and live Q&As, and I have guests come on, and it's been really special. But it's just kind of a way to
connect
and to try to help people, but also create a community.
That's so
people
cool.
who are just like want to support each other, even though they haven't necessarily gone through the same exact thing. So.
Yeah. But you know what? I found out I went and did that Hoffman process. And so I figured out, like, I always thought empathy was like, I had to go through the same thing that you go through to feel for you in that way. But it's actually not true at all. Like, you can have empathy.
You can, as long as you really feel it.
Right. As long as you really feel it. And it's like so many people's hearts broke with yours. And so the fact that you created this comfort club to do the same for so many people, because you are only one person and you have to feed your soul. You have to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
You have to find love again. You have to move on.
You have to put your oxygen mask on before you can help others.
There you go. And you're doing it, but you're also creating a system and a community to really support and care for others that either went through loss of life or loss of whatever it is, trauma. And I love that.
Oh,
thank you for doing that. And
I'm trying.
I hope the club just keeps growing because
it started because I had my podcast Comfort Food,
which I love,
which was so helpful to people, but then it had to go on hiatus for a while. And I was like, well, while I don't have that, I still want to do something. Yeah. So how can I have something that's a little bit more immersive than a podcast? So, because a podcast, like people are listening to us right now, but they can't ask questions right now. Right. Yeah. We can't directly talk to them. So I was like, here's a way where I can actually directly talk to people.
And how do you do the direct talk with them? Through Comfort Club? Like, how do they
there's
get
a platform you? And then, I have like events listed of like the next event is on Sunday, whatever. And so on Sunday, then it'll be like a Zoom thing. So it'll be,
you do it all.
Yeah. So I do it all. And so I'll have a Zoom, but I'll have like guests come on, who have also gone through whether it's like a therapist, or I had like Bob's rabbi on, like Rabbi Leader. I had Katie Couric and Jana Kramer, like who went through a really bad divorce. And then Katie went through the loss of her husband. And, I've just had really great guests come on and talk for 30 minutes to my little Comfort Club members. And it's really cozy. But now that the podcast is coming back soon.
I can't wait. So podcast is called Comfort Food, which I loved the minute you came out with it.
I might adjust the name a little bit because the new season is going to be just a different format. It's not going to be as interview focused. It'll be more like just my thoughts and ramblings and my like solo episodes, conversations versus me like interviewing somebody about grief.
Because we were talking about that before we even started this, where it's like, even upstairs before you got there, Brant was like, so tell me, because he's always so curious and I love that. It's not like
he's Brecken's like that too.
It's they're going to love each other.
I cannot wait for them to meet. I just said, like, when I walked in here, I'm like, oh my God, this is Brecken would freak out about this.
I want to have you over and I want to cook dinner and I want to hang out and go to the beach. Like, please
say less.
We're doing it. And like, they will love each other.
Sooner rather than later.
I've never met someone that doesn't love him. And he's just like so curious about it. And so he's just says to me, he's like, so you're not ever prepping. And I thought about it. I was like, first of all, I feel like I know you.
Right.
Second of all, I know most of the things I want to ask you about or talk to you about, and then through that, learn about you.
I mean, you're so good at this.
Really?
Yes.
I feel comfortable.
There was like, you're so good at it.
Thank you. You're so good at it. When I watched you do Comfort Food, it was like, okay, this woman who I could listen to all the time, and I can't listen to anyone. Everyone fucking annoys me. Okay? People annoy me.
I will take that.
I love like your voice, and I love your delivery, and I love how deliberate it is, and I love how honest it is, and it's like I could see through so much bullshit.
Yeah.
And you are like legit. You just are an honest person to watch. And so
authenticity is trending.
Fuck that.
It's back in.
Isn't it crazy?
It's crazy. Like I made a silly video that I think I'm going to post tomorrow because, now they're saying the clean girl nail aesthetic is back. Like clean girl, like
no, it's back.
Yeah. So, but it never left for me. That's the same. Like this has always been me, but now it's trending. And so my joke is like, we're back, baby. Like me doing nothing is back.
And you telling people honestly, that you're doing nothing isn't.
Yeah. It's
Because
like,
people somehow, I don't
it's
know.
like I
maybe
play
it was,
guitar. I can't have long nails. So I can't ever have like long nails. And then I was like, wait, I'm done getting the manicure. I'm just done. I give myself a little manicure once a week, and I save so much money and time and effort. I don't have to go to the stupid nail salon. And
it's the worst
now
part
it's
of my
back.
month. Good for you.
now it's trending
I
again.
want to come back.
And
I
it's like,
saw
not
a
that I
picture
ever
of myself
cared,
with your
but-
nails. Like you have long, slender nails. Okay, you've got a good
hairs.
hand.
Well,
right? Congrats, because I'm dealing with looks like a fucking cadaver. Look at the veins and the.
Right. Yeah. That's exactly what I was going to say.
But I hate my hands. My hands look older than like my mom's hands.
No, they
I've just
don't.
always had like a veiny hand. So I decided that I was going to like
veiny
grow
hand.
my nails out. So, and then I always wear the same color for like continuity on the show.
They're so pretty. But see, like
thank
they're
you.
so pretty. Like if I had the patience to do that, if I didn't play
won't.
guitar, then that would be a different story. But like I can't have long nails, and so I'm just done trying.
You don't need to. They look beautiful. I looked at a picture of my hands when I used to do just nothing.
And you liked
and
it?
I hate, they look stumpier and they look stupid, but I have to sit for 3 hours to get this Russian manicure.
That's what my friend does. And her nails look exactly like yours.
They're perfect.
They're perfect and they look exactly
oval
like that.
and almond, and they last for 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah.
But still, when you go back and you're sitting there for 3 hours, and I'm like,
It's
I
like
actually
soul crushing.
find a little bit of like,
Because you can't do anything.
Yeah.
For a pedicure, I'll still get pedicures, but for a pedicure, it's different because your hands are free.
Hands. I know. When I'm sitting
can't.
there, I kind of go, fuck it, I'm going to relax. This is the world telling me to like take a minute. Yeah. Like everyone can leave me alone.
Yeah,
But like whatever we're doing is now trending on the authenticity part, where it's like, I love the fact that like I don't prep. I love that like, but I also felt like I knew you. If I have somebody on, which I'm sure I will.
You just still feel so cozy. You know,
I
it's
hope
like,
so.
this was so cozy.
Good. Because
Like when you ran out today, I was like, oh, hey, it's Allison, who I feel like I see every day.
I know you pulled up and I'm like, oh, the dog, like feeling like you knew the dogs. But it's just that comfort of what you do and how people really connect to you is because they feel comfortable. And so this brand that you have built, from Eat, Travel, Rock to comfort food to comfort club to just people like truly like you are like this. We were talking about it just now, but it was like, I didn't put that together where Bob was kind of America's dad for our generation. And like your pain and grief was like, you became like my sister or my really good
that
friend.
Is very, very kind.
It feels
Thank
so
you.
true for me because I felt you. Like
God
it was
bless
like,
you. Thank you.
yeah. And I'm so happy that you have love in your life again.
Thank you.
And
it's very special. I feel every day, like I don't take 1 minute with him for granted.
Yeah.
Not 1 minute. Every day I tell him, I'm like, I can't believe this is my life. I can't believe how lucky I am. I can't believe, I mean, he says it too, but like, I'm like, I can't believe it. And it's such a blessing and it's just so special. And because believe me, you hear the horror stories of dating in your 40s and stuff. I'm like, oh, thank God. Like he was right out of the bat. Like I went on 2 simu dates and then I met him right away and that was it. Our first date, like that was it.
On dates, just even before you met him.
I went
like
on
when did
2
you
that
know?
were-
When did you kind of go, okay, I think it's time to go on a date?
Yeah, it was a little over a year. It was like a year and 3 months after Bob passed. I started thinking about it. If that makes sense.
I love
and I
that.
remember I went to Bob's daughters and I like asked for their blessing
That's sweet.
because I was like, there's no way I can do this without their blessing. And, you know, not that I needed permission, but I wanted their blessing. And they freely were like, we just want you to be happy. So whatever you think, we trust you, whatever you want. And same with his best friends, gave me their blessing. And so
I love that you did that.
Yeah, I couldn't not.
Did you feel
know?
something like where it was like, you're a team?
Yeah. And it's a whole, I mean, this is, you know, could be hours and hours and I don't want to keep you forever, but it's like,
I'm here.
It's a very complicated emotional dynamic of wanting to start dating again. It's like, you feel like is this wrong? It has to be wrong because I'm still married and I'm going to go out on a date with somebody. It's really weird. It's very complicated. But anyway, when I was assured that I was doing nothing wrong, and I had to hear it from those people.
Because you felt like you were.
Yeah. I still feel like it's wrong every once in a while. I still feel like, oh my God. Like, I think Brecken's the only person on earth that Bob would be remotely okay about, but he still wouldn't like it. You know?
Of course he's not going to like it.
Heavenly Bob would. Earthly Bob would not be okay with it. But yeah, Brecken is, it was a few months later then, I was like, okay, maybe I'm ready to start. So I went on 2 like brief cocktail dates that I met guys on like an app, and they were fine. They were nice, pleasant. No horror stories, nothing bad. They were very nice.
But just no connection.
Right. Yeah. It was fine though. and then like a month later, not even, I met Brecken and we went on our first date a few weeks later, and like that was it. That was it. So I didn't have to go through the nightmare of, you know, all the horror stories of the
when
weird
was that? When did
creeps
that hit you? The like the, oh my God, I am now single again. And now how old were you when he died?
42.
Oh God, I think that's young, but in your mind, you're going, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I thought I had this shit figured out.
Yeah.
I'm in love. I have my partner. I've moved. I have a home. I assumed you guys had a home together.
Yeah. And then I had to move out of that home after like 3 months.
Why?
Because we just had to sell it. Like I couldn't stay there. Like his girls, like the house belonged to them and they needed to sell it. They just couldn't keep it up. It was just too big of a, like, it just didn't make sense.
So that's a huge change too.
Yeah.
How'd you do that? Or
I mean,
did you
that's
want
a whole
to get
other thing?
Did you want to get out of that? Like, were you like, I need to get away?
I did. The house was very triggering, and I don't use that word lightly. It's like how Gen Z uses it for everything. Like it was very triggering to be in that house. And I love the house too. So that was complicated because I didn't want to leave, but I did want to leave. So I found a new house where I was able to curate all of my favorite stuff about Bob without having it be like shoved in my face.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was rough, but.
And that's this house that you're in?
No, I was in that one, in Hollywood for like 18 months. And then now I'm in the Valley.
Okay, good. So you had like a little transition kind of home.
Yeah.
Where you could like have things.
Which it was such a special home. And it was like the perfect house for me at the time. It was wonderful. Yeah. So it's just.
But when did you say to yourself, like, were you like, did you ever look at it and go, okay, now how the hell am I going to do this again? Or do I even want to do this again? Like,
I couldn't even think about it because you're just so not in that headspace for a long time. And then maybe 6 to 9 months in, I went through a phase where I was like, no, I'm actually content with my ghost husband. That's what I called him for a while. He was my ghost husband. Like, I know he's not here, but I know he still loves me. And I felt like his presence and I felt like his love. And I was like, I am sustained just looking at a picture of him on the wall or looking at his stuff and knowing that he still loves me and he's still my husband. And like that carried me. I mean, it sounds weird, but
doesn't sound weird.
It was, I was like, he's my ghost husband. Because I still felt like he was still very much my husband, even though he like wasn't there anymore.
What kind of signs did you get any?
I got a bit, I've only really had like a couple, but there were 2 that were huge. And one was he had this like little figurine on his nightstand. It's like a very rare little figurine that was like this wooden little like toy, looked almost like a little, like a transformer guy, but it was like made of wood. And at the new house I was looking at, once again, I felt weird moving out of the house and moving into a new house. I felt like I was abandoning him. And this house that I fell in love with, the first thing I saw when I walked in was the same little figurine on the mantle.
Same one.
Same exact one. And it's like, I've never seen another one. Like nobody's ever seen another one. It's not like a Barbie doll or something. Like it was
crazy.
The most random little thing. And he had it on his nightstand next to his bed every night. And then this one had it on the and I walked in, I was like, okay, that's the house.
That's how you knew it was the next house to live in.
And his nephew, Adam, is my agent, my realtor. And when he walked in and he saw the same thing, he was like, holy shit, that's the house.
Oh my God. What a cool sign.
Isn't that crazy?
You just like, that was it. You're like, that's it. Okay, thanks, Bob. Got it.
It was the perfect house. Like everything else was perfect too, but it was like,
You knew.
yeah.
What was the next one? How long after did you actually get that sign?
I mean, that was 3 months after.
So nothing up until the 3 months. Like, you
Not
know, you hear
really.
things like, God, no comparison, by the way, but when my dog of 20 years died,
You had a dog that lived
I
to
had a dog
20?
for 20 years, 2 dogs
Whoa.
for 20 years. And when little Wesley died, I was outside and I looked up. I was in Vegas and I was in my yard. And this cloud formation, I looked up and I'm like, am I just seeing this shit? That looks like a West Highland Terrier. So I take a picture, but I'm sitting in it. And I just didn't look at it again. And then like the next day I got in a car and I had to go film. I was filming like a commercial and I thought, I got to go. I got to get out of this grief. I got in the car and the driver knew where I was going, but he was like, do you want me to take you any specific way? And I'm like, I don't care. I just go. And he goes, well, maybe you check Waze or something. So I looked on the call sheet and the address was like 2121 Wesley Avenue.
Stop.
And I'm like, oh shit. And so I love and held on to, and still to this day, hold on to those 2 signs as something very sacred and like special to me.
Well,
and so I just wonder, like,
I
does
have
that
the
happen?
crazy, if you have time for one more.
I have time for whatever.
This
yes.
is the craziest one. A month or so after that, I'd moved into this new house. My sister was over. I was cooking dinner, and all of a sudden, it was nighttime, and I couldn't see. Like, I was looking at her, but I'm like, I can't see your face. And I started freaking out. She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, Kristen, I can't see your face. Like, I could see, but I couldn't. There was like a blank spot in the middle of my field of vision. And she's like, what do you mean? She's like, are you okay? I was like, I think I'm having a stroke. Like, I don't know what's happening to me. Like, I think I'm going to die. And she was like, oh my God. So she like calls my dad. I'm like, what's that going to do? He's in Chicago.
Yeah.
And then I was like, should I go to the ER? Like, should I go to the hospital? We call my doctor. He was at the Hollywood Bowl at a concert. And my house looked into the Hollywood Bowl, which was really funny. And he's like, do you need me to come over? I can come over after. And I was like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I think I'm having a stroke. And then this crazy light situation started going from my right eye. It started blocking my entire, like it looked like a kaleidoscope. Like I was looking through a kaleidoscope. It went from my right eye all the way across and then to my left eye. And I remember I was like freaking out, but like nobody could help me. And my sister's like, I don't know what to do. And it took like 30 minutes. And in that time, I had this big coffee table like this. And there was a picture of Bob. It was the last picture he ever took that he posted on Instagram the night he passed away. And I printed it out and I always had it on my table and I would look at it. And I remember I was like crying and I'm looking at him and I'm like praying to God and praying to Bob. I was like, please, I was like, honey, help me. I'm so scared. I'm so scared. And it was like very dramatic. I'm like praying like, God, please, like, don't let me die right now. And like, Bob, like, please help me. Anyway, turns out it was an ocular migraine or like a migraine with aura. It was fine. Obviously I was fine. But the next day, I woke up and I called my other sister in Chicago who didn't know anything about it. And I was like, oh my God, Kimmy, the worst thing happened to me last night. It was so scary, blah, 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 blah. And at the time, my little niece was like 2.5. And she's like, Kelly, that's really weird. I was like, what? She goes, I was talking to Alexandra this morning, my niece. And she goes, Mommy, Auntie Kelly's sick. And she's like, what? She goes, Auntie Kelly's really scared. Auntie Kelly's sick. And Kimmy goes, what do you mean? How do you know? What are you talking about? She goes, Uncle Bob told me. Like, what?
What?
Isn't that crazy?
No. But
And
yes,
they had a
of
weird
course.
connection. She and Bob had a very special connection.
She got a whole sign too. But
But
then
like,
through the sign, through
she's
you.
never done anything like that. She's never said anything
That's
like
why
that.
it's even cooler because you
Right.
know it's special.
Right.
Because you know it's real.
Right. She's never said anything Uncle Bob's told me. Isn't that crazy?
That's fucking
So anyway.
cool. How cool is that?
Yeah. So that was a big sign where I'm like, okay, there's
those are
something
two
else.
very-
There's something else out there.
Yeah. I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Yeah.
And I know that there's so much more out there for you
We don't
that
see
you're not doing
just
yet.
in general, like we don't see anything. There's
No.
so much around us that we don't.
But if you're in
see,
tune
yeah.
to it, like I do feel like I always am very much like in tune with that stuff. Like I always go, oh, I've never seen, people say that all the time to me. Oh, I've never seen that happen before. And I'm like, that's my life.
Yeah. There's a
I
lot
get
we
these
don't know.
weird,
Yeah.
cool moments that like happen where I'm like, oh my God, how cool of a gift is that? But is it a gift or am I just paying attention?
Yeah.
And that's
You're
the cool
just
part of
tuned
it
in.
too. Yeah,
Yeah.
tuned in. And I just feel like I feel so much more connected to you than
I know.
I already thought I was. Not in like
I'm already like, okay, we have to make 10 more plans.
Please.
Get them dinners and other things on the books.
everything. And I hope you guys come to Vegas too.
Us even just having our periphery of, friendship has
Yeah.
been, I've just always been like, she's just so freaking great. And, some of your friends who are my friends, it's like, they're such wonderful people and it's good people stick together.
They
and,
do. Yeah. And it's like, it really is this Chicago bond. I do believe that. And I appreciate you being open and honest and relatable and accessible and also just like,
Well, as I said, you are so good at this, and I appreciate you asking like real questions that actually are from the heart of ones you're clearly like in the moment for and like you're feeling versus like, hold on. So, where did you go to college? Or
Yes.
like whatever it is.
I never want to have a note card because I'm not ever going to look at it because the feeling of talking to somebody and having conversation is what I think people back, whether they're listening to us or watching us, they're going to relate because they're like, this is how it sounds when they're talking to their friend or this is how it sounds when they're talking to whatever. It's like, that is to me what makes something so vulnerable, but then so relatable, which is circles back to like why I said like it should be Pap Smear Podcast because like it's vulnerable, but like we have to do it. It's crazy.
It's invasive. It's
Yes.
vulnerable.
Yes.
You're just out there.
That's
For
the
all
Pap
to
Smear
see.
Podcast. And that's why I was like, how do I keep this going? I hope I can. I can't wait for yours to come back. I can't wait for people to watch yours.
Well, look
when
at
is comfort food coming
you've
back?
been keeping your stuff going for a very long time. So there's no way when you put your mind to it that it's not going to do exactly what you want it to do.
I wanted to do it.
I don't know the exact timeline, but hopefully within the next month or so, I hope.
And I can't wait to listen to it. And I can't wait for people to watch and learn and feel through you. So thank you for being here.
I adore you. Thank you so
adore
much.
you. And I just like,
So
I feel
grateful
so
for
much
you.
closer to you.
know.
So this is, we're not
To
leaving.
be continued.
To be continued is right.
Yes.
I just can't wait for people to like feel you that way. So thank you.
Well, then I'm having you on mine to just have a conversation and shoot the shit.
I would love it. Whatever you want and need,
I'll get you to the Valley.
Oh yeah, I love
Oh,
the
wait,
Valley.
no, West Hollywood is where I'm filming it.
Whatever you're doing, wherever you're listening, I love you guys, and this is all so exciting and new for me. But the most important thing is that you like it, review it, subscribe to it. I can't wait to hear from you guys, and I can't wait to keep bringing more Pap Smear appointments to your calendar.
I love
It's funny when I did my first one.
I want my whole calendar to be filled with Pap Smear appointments. Every week. I'm very on top of my health.
I literally probably get 2 Pap Smears a year.